Hello everybody, Nigat here, and welcome to another build order guide for Littlewargame. Today's build order is going to be a lot shorter compared to previous build orders that I've done on this channel, so I kind of have to be pretty quick with how I'm going to go about it. It is the 8-house raider build. Essentially what I do is I mine till I get to 75 or 80 gold. And then I pull one of my workers off the mineral line, so there's 75. I pull a worker, and then I go and build a house. This is different than other build orders because typically you build 2 workers in your castle before you go and build any houses or anything like this. In this case, we're just doing the 1 worker, and then we're building a house. And then once we get another 20 gold, we're going to start up another worker, so 50 gold, immediately start up a new worker, and then now we have both our castle producing a worker and a house. It basically lets us get a faster house at the cost of maybe 3 seconds of not producing a worker, so not the worst trade-off, but technically not the best either. In terms of our economy, but in this case I think it is a good trade-off because after this house produces we have exactly 125 gold, and I time it pretty on the nose here so that once this house finishes I can immediately start up a Barracks with that 125 gold and start this Barracks production. It's going to allow me to get very fast raiders out, and that is the point of this build, to get some fast raiders out on the map probably by the 2-minute mark, and then immediately start up a worker. We're actually going to start up 2 workers in this castle, which will get us to that 10 worker count on the castle mining, and then this 11th worker over here is going to be doing some scouting for us. Instead of going back to the mine where it has to do all this travel time in between the barracks and the castle, we're going to use it to go scout out the map, make sure that we're efficient. Follow up the racks finishing with a raider, and we pretty much see the end of the build order right here. So just slightly different than a standard 2 racks raider. Where you queue up 2 raiders and then you're good to go. Instead, what I do is with this build, I get this very fast raider. So 1 minute 30 seconds essentially, we already have a raider coming onto the map. Whereas with the 2 raider builds, I believe you start building the raider around 1 minute 50 seconds, if I remember correctly. Not exactly sure, but if I remember correctly, it's about that timing. And then we use our scout to scout around the map. You can send this guy wherever you want to go. I like this spot because it lets me see up here for any proxy dens or proxy racks. Scouting in this general area and this ledge over here is also good. So, and definitely vary your scouting. You'll notice that by the time this raider pops, we're floating 260 gold. So for you guys at home, you can make some adjustments to this build. I would say you can make an optional second raider here, but once you finish building that second raider, I would definitely start building a castle. If you build a second raider here, you're essentially playing a faster 2 racks racks 2 raider opening, or just the 2 raider opening, the standard opening. But with this 8-house build order, you get your raider a lot faster, and thus you're going to be a lot safer against anything your opponent goes for. And so here's how this build revolutionizes Littlewargame slightly. This raider shows up by the time, especially if you're going up against Beast, it shows up when your opponent has 2 wolves max. Like, your opponent can really only have 2 wolves at the timing this raider hits the other side of the map. On Ravaged in particular, sorry I bumped the mic. So this is like a Ravaged specific build, by the way, guys. If you try this build on something like Stream Junction or Silent Fjord, no, actually Silent Fjord this could work on, like Sylvan Charm. Those maps are a lot bigger, and thus the timing of the early raider is not going to matter as much. But on very small maps like Silent Fjord, like Ravaged, having the early raider is going to be very big. It's going to be crucial. And you can follow it up with a second raider. Yeah, the reason why I say the build order ends here is because there are so many follow-ups you could do here. You could have just gotten that second raider instead of getting the castle and then start building the castle. In my mind, I like to have the expand behind it just so I'm making sure that I'm very economical. And then you could follow this up with archers. In my case, I'm going for more raiders. That's my vision of this build. And with that, yeah, there's the 8-house raider expand in this case. But if you build a second raider, then it's more like a pressure 8-house raider rather than a eco 8-house raider. Already at the 3-minute mark, we have both our castles, and we're able to move on and expand from there. So hopefully this build order guide was helpful for you guys. Should be able to pressure and almost crush any beast opening you go against with this build order, especially because with the raider, with the very early raider, your priority is going to be killing wolves. As long as you can get one wolf kill every time they spawn a wolf, and you continue to produce raiders, you're eventually going to snowball, and the game is pretty much going to be over immediately, especially if you decide to go for that optional second raider before the castle there. The potential to just end the game immediately is very big. So very, very good against beast, very good against other raiders. So if your opponent goes the standard 2-raider build order, this allows your raider to basically be here by the time your first raider would pop up. So it lets you scout, it lets you see what's going on their side of the map, and then it allows some chaos to happen in the game. You force your opponent to defend while you yourself can go for anything you really want to, especially if they're stuck at home having to defend your raider. But in those cases, you have to micro very well. Against workshops, this is really strong. Raiders are very good against Gatling guns, and by the time this one raider shows up, your opponent will typically have the one Gatling gun. However, they will have a second Gatling gun appear shortly after the raider is there. So it's kind of a 50-50 to see if you could win the game straight up with your raider micro using this build order here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this was a fun build order. Not very long, just because there's so many ways you can go with this. You can transition into archers immediately. You could go into like some sort of catapult drop. It's a very aggressive and economical build order in this case. All right, guys. See you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed.